Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's edition of the Business Talk with Ajay right here on ITV Gold. As we welcome you to the show, let me just tell you the show is brought to you by SAI CPA Services, a complete professional accounting firm and the tax advisors. SAI CPA firm can guide you, can navigate you with your taxes and with all your corporate personal taxes as well as any business matter that you need assistance. SAI CPA Services, they can be reached at 908-380-6876 or visit their website saicpaservices.com. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ajay Kumar of SAI CPA Services to the show. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeev, and thank you for the kind introduction.
You're very welcome. How was your Thanksgiving holiday?
Oh, very nice. Relaxing. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. No, because I figured that, this year Thanksgiving retail sales was so high, so I figured that you must have gone out for shopping.
Well, it's not me, but you're right. The retail consumers were higher than any prior years. And we have to take a step back. We have been just coming out of COVID years.
Yes.
So this year we had more in terms of number, more consumers coming out on Black Friday, especially when a lot of sales happen. In total, the sales were not as high as we were expecting. They were higher than the prior year, but not as high as the analysts were expecting. But from the number of consumer perspective, more people showed up.
More people showed up, yes, and the viewers like to tell you that AJ loves to shop, but normally he stays home and he sends a people for him to shop. So that's what he does. But anyway, so Thanksgiving is over and now we are actually in the first week of December. So here we go, last month of the year 2023, and here we are to bring you the business stories of the week from all over the world. Let's start with the US economy. There's a good news. Yes, US economy grew.
So US economy is doing very well. US economy grew 5.2%. If you look at just the third quarter, on an annualized basis is 4.9%. If you remember, the expectations were 4.6%, which was revised from 4.3%. Even then, the actuals are beating what the analysts were expecting. That shows a lot of positivity. It's not as good as to reduce the rate for the federal government, but seeing the result, we know for a fact now that the federal government is not going to increase the rate in mid-December, December 12th, December 13th, when the next meeting happens. Probably the first rate decrease, Sanjeevji, will come in probably April, May of next year. We are expecting the rates to be decreasing by 100 basis points in the next year, in the whole year, which may not be as good as it used to be from the mortgage market, from the interest rate market. We are expecting the real rate decrease to happen in 2025 as opposed to 2024. But we are sure the rate decrease will start in 2024, sometime in the first quarter, maybe in the second quarter, depending on how the economy goes. But so far, the results that we have seen in the economy are better than what we were expecting.
Okay, that's a good news. While US economy has recovered from pandemic days and it grew faster than the experts had predicted, but there are some challenges ahead, such as supply chain distributions, labor shortages, and inflation pressures, and also Omicron variant of COVID-19. Is it going to happen or not? But there is a little bit of talk out there. So let's see what happens. So there are always going to be challenges. But whenever there is a positive response to the challenges in a way that, economy grew faster than expected, it is a good sign. It's a good sign for all of us to know and to understand. But, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be skeptical about that. And of course, Chase CEO Jamie Dimon says that US may get into recession.
Absolutely. So that's contrary to what the economists are saying, and you have to know who is this person. CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank, $3 trillion plus bank, the biggest bank in America. The CEO of that bank, Jamie, is saying that the economy is heading to a recession. So as Sanjeevji, you're right, as you said, we have to take it one day at a time. So we have a lot of opinions about it. So nobody can for sure forecast the future that this is how it's going to be. There are people who are more conservative, forecasting a recession. Then there are people who are more optimistic, saying the economy is doing better than what we expected. And the results are showing that the economy did better, at least in the third quarter. But we still have to be careful, one day at a time, 1 month at a time. We are not expecting again the federal government to be increasing the rates anymore. If you remember, till last September, federal government increased the rate 11 times. And again, the first rate decrease is not going to be huge. We are only expecting 25 basis point, and that too in sometime in 2024, not in 2023.
Yeah, in 2023 there's not going to be rate hike. December 12th and December 13th, these are the dates Fed is expected to meet, but there's not going to be rate increase because they just want to leave everything the way it is. And not only the Fed, but the Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, and the Bank of England have paused their interest rate hikes in the recent weeks.
Absolutely.
And looking at the global condition, not only US economy, but the global economy, they are thinking that this is the wise move to make right now, that not to touch interest rate issue. What happens in the first quarter of the year 2024, that remains to be seen. Now, what else remains to be seen is a dollar. You know, unfortunately, US dollar is heading in the worst direction and then having its worst month in a year, and that is not an encouraging news.
Well, it depends on which side of the equation you are. So when US dollar is weak, it's good for the exporter who are exporting to US. It's not good for the US consumer because everything becomes slightly more expensive. Your US dollar, your $1, if you're earning in US dollar, is not able to buy, does not have the same strength to buy what you were able to buy earlier. In November, we have seen US dollar consistently over 83 Indian rupees, which is not good. I mean, not that it's the lowest mark, but from a monthly perspective, meaning where the rates are consistently over 83, this has not happened in the near future, in the near past either. So we just have to take it one day at a time. We have to see if this is the new normal for the months to come, or if the US dollar is going to get strengthened. But it's a good news if you are an exporter to US, and it's not a good news if you earn in US dollars and if you are a US consumer over here.
Okay. Well, I'm a US consumer, so all I did, I use dollar to make a living here in the US. So
if you are in India exporting to US, or if you are a businessman, then I mean you have to look at your situation. You can has your situation depending on which side of the equation you are, especially if you own the business and if you have large exposure to foreign currency, it's a good idea for you to consider hedging the US currency.
Let me ask you a question. See if you know the answer. You may know the answer to this question. It just came to my mind. Because of war in the Ukraine, that US, gave out hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars to Ukraine, right? Now Israel and Hamas is at war, and there is a talk that there will be a blank check issued by US, blank check in the sense that they're going to help out Israel also to fight this war. When they do, and when they're going to be rolling out hundreds of millions of dollars to Israel, do you think that makes a difference on the dollar value in international market?
It does to a certain extent, but you have to take a step back. Having a war between Israel and Hamas does not affect the US economy directly. Actually, it helps US economy because a lot of US weapons are exported to both countries.
Yeah.
So unless you start writing a large check or larger than the benefit you are getting, at that time it sort of starts affecting the bottom line.
But we're also adding debt to our,
absolutely, that affects too.
Yes.
So while we are giving money to a foreign country and taking debt on the US economy,
exactly.
So you said double whammy.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of factors goes in there. It's not just one factor.
Okay.
It's not just one currency. You have to compare this currency with a lot of other currencies.
Yeah, because then if you have noticed, US is the only country who's been helping out with hundreds of millions of dollars, to Ukraine, and they're going to be helping out Israel because no other country has come forward with that kind of money power.
Initially, a lot of countries did help Ukraine.
Yeah, but not as much as US.
Absolutely, and a lot of countries have taken the step back now because the war is lingering on sort of forever, not finished.
And the other countries, they're having their local problems also, recession, economy, and
so
stuff
are we.
like that. Yeah.
I mean, US economy is struggling. The inflation rate is too high. The interest rate is too high. So we have our own problem. And at this point of time, it's a government decision to be going out of the way to be helping other countries and taking the loan on the US government.
Correct.
I was seeing an article by former President Trump, and he was implying that if he was the president, he wouldn't be giving the money out.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, I mean, not...
He's been very vocal about that. He's
Yes,
been
not
very
going
vocal
into
about
politics of it, but I mean, everything sort of contributes to the US dollar compared to other currencies if it's going to be higher or lower.
My point is that if Trump were president, perhaps Ukraine and Russia could not have gone into the war. But that's okay.
Well,
that's
we
my
wouldn't really
opinion.
go in there. We wouldn't really know that.
Exactly. If you ever been to UK and especially London, you may have seen black cab. Black cab taxi is very, very popular in the UK and especially in London. So now Uber announces partnership with iconic black cab in London.
So you compare black cab, if you have never been to that part of the world.
It's a livery.
So you see black cab as yellow cab of New York City.
Yeah.
So black cab is everywhere, and black cab is the only thing that you see over there when you have to go from point 1 to point 2. The thing is, so Uber was getting more popular everywhere around the world, and they were having difficulties breaking into that market because of these black cab services. Now Uber is getting into a partnership where Uber will get 10% of the service fee as opposed to 25% that they typically get everywhere else. So it's a win-win. Black cab can stay in the market. A lot of markets where Uber came in, a lot of local services went out of business.
Correct.
Just because Uber was cheaper and you don't have the maintenance cost of having a commercial vehicle all the time. A lot of Uber drivers are just residential drivers. They are not in the business of driving cars only. They are part-time drivers. So the cost is much lower for the Uber drivers.
Exactly.
So instead of going out of business for the black cab, it's a win-win for black cab and it's a win-win for Uber.
Well, win-win for Uber because Uber just won the case to be in London because you know, the UK government had blocked them, but judge overruled that, and now they are allowed. They are licensed to do business in London, and London actually is a very crucial market for Uber because tying up with this black cab, it's like more than 3.5 million riders and 45,000 drivers. So talk about the strength, and the partnership is expected to launch in early 2024, and they just need approval from the London Transportation Department. All right, moving on to this. Earlier we just touched upon Thanksgiving sales, but here is the key thing that you all should know, and AJ will definitely shed some light on that matter. Thanksgiving sale was a record-breaking sale. Of course, we know that it was much higher than the last year, but why was it higher? Because there was one interesting thing offered by retailers.
Well, the best part this year, or the difference making part this year, was buy now, pay later. We have seen the Thanksgiving sale or the day after Thanksgiving sale, Black Friday sales, always there. This year we had more consumers coming out. The sales were higher than the prior year, the last year, but not as high as the economists were expecting. And the biggest factor in contributing to the higher sale than the prior year is buy now, pay later. A lot of people have put the purchases on the credit card, especially on the departmental credit cards.
You know, there was a buy now, pay later, and then there used to be layaway plan by the retailers years ago, decades ago. There used to be less. So something that they have come up with to attract more shoppers. But anyway, with that note, viewers, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got more interesting business stories for you in this, the Business Talk with AJ show. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with AJ. In this half, we're going to give you more business stories, of course, international stories we're going to cover in the second half. And we like to begin with a story from Britain. We just talked about Uber, you know, getting into partnership with the black cab in London, but now there is a story which is a disturbing story, and the story is that the British banks announced sweeping job cuts weeks before Christmas. Of course, this is the month of December. It's a holiday month, Christmas month, and this is a very, very disturbing news for the employees of those banks.
Absolutely, and banks in general, this whole sector has been struggling. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Citizens Bank, have the latest bank filing the restructuring. Now we hear the Metro Bank in London. is having a situation. They are looking for investors to bring 250 million pound, over 300 million dollars. There are a lot of job cuts happening. So in general, the whole industry, the banking industry is suffering. You will see a lot of changes in the industry in general, not just in London, but in US as well, including but not limited to seeing a lot of physical brick and mortar branches may be closed. A lot of these services will be online or less cost for the bank. So bank is taking a step back and trying to redefine the model as where they are making more money, which service makes them more money. It may be the end of free checking service, or if you want the free checking, it's only web only service. So you will see a lot of changes, a lot of restructuring in the general banking industry.
All right. I hope that in the month of December, at least the companies or banks in the US don't announce any major layoffs. Let's hope that way.
That's always the hope, and a lot of companies sincerely try very hard, but sometimes it just becomes too difficult.
This month at least you shouldn't do
that.
At least in December you should. It's the last month of the year and it's a holiday month, so you really don't want to do it. But hey, business is business, and when we talk about business, you know, some companies realize it a little bit later on, but as they say, it's never too late to realize that, you know, what is your best option. I'm talking about Walmart. Walmart, they have started to rely less on China, and now they are importing more goods from India. This is a major story.
That's a wonderful story. So if you go back a couple of years, in 2018, only 2% of Walmart import came from India, and as much as 80% of Walmart import came from China. Now, Walmart is redefining their strategy. They are trying to diversify their supply chain model. They are trying to find other lower cost options. And if you remember, China had situation a few months ago in terms of freight charges, in terms of freight. China had problem with the COVID situation. We are hearing another virus going on in China. So there are a lot of issues going on. But the story here is Walmart is diversifying and relying on India suppliers to increase the supply. Between 2018 till 23, Indian supply have grown from 2% to 12%, while Walmart is taking only 60% of its supply from China. So Walmart's reliance on China is going down. China is still the biggest supplier for Walmart. 60% comes from China, but 60%, comparatively speaking, was 80% 5 years ago.
There are several factors, you know, due to this, because in China, the Chinese economy is not doing too well.
Absolutely.
They are having their internal problems, and because of this political instability, not getting clear message or clear a voice of cooperation from China for US, that is very disturbing to some retailers. And Walmart Walmart finally has realized it. And as Andrea Albright, Walmart's executive vice president of sourcing, said that we want the best prices, and that means I need resiliency in our supply chains. I can't be reliant on any one supplier or geography for my product, because we are constantly managing things from hurricanes and earthquakes to shortages in the raw materials. So they are really, you know, exploring this option slowly by slowly. It has just started, and the numbers are really looking good, but just started. Imagine if this continues, if this trend continues, in 1 to 3 years, India could become a major supplier, to Walmart for their products and goods.
It will be great for Indian economy. The key here is, can Indian economy be seen as more sustainable, more reliable than the Chinese economy?
Yes.
We have to have the political stability.
Correct.
We have to have the country which is seen by the foreign countries as a stable country, politically, socially, economically.
Exactly. All right, and talk about India. You know, viewers, I'm sure that you must remember this news, but perhaps it hasn't gone out of your sight. Couple of months ago, Gautam Adani fell off the list of billionaires, the top billionaires, top 20 billionaires in the world. He fell off the list because of that Hindenburg report came out, and Hindenburg report kind of damaged Adani's, stock value and everything. But guess what? Now the news is Adani is back. Gautam Adani is back in the top 20 list of the billionaires in the world.
Absolutely. So the court has given a decision that the Hindenburg report was not right, was
Correct.
not true.
Not valid, yes.
Not valid.
No proof, yep.
So that created a rally in the market. Their shares are doing very well. They have gained $6 billion plus.
He currently holds 19th spot, okay?
Absolutely.
It's a 19th spot. Remember, he used to be in the top 5.
Absolutely,
But to
but
get
still,
back at 19th spot
it's a big deal.
The day is not too far that he will be soon in top 10 and then in top 5.
He is the second richest person we are talking about. After Mukesh Ambani, Adani is the second richest person, Indian richest person, with $53.6 billion of net worth.
Nice to hear that. Anyway, that's the second richest person and first richest person, so on and so forth. Now let's talk about the richest cricket league in the world. The cricket company in the world, which is BCCI, Board of Control for Cricket in India, is the richest cricket entity, right? And now IPL is going to be coming. Now there's a talk about IPL because IPL auction is going to begin soon, and most of the teams, they have announced that what players they're going to retain and what players they're going to release. And there's a major news. A lot of players are getting released.
Absolutely. So what we hear so far, Hardik Pandya will be moved from
Gujarat Titans to Mumbai Indians. He requested a trade from Gujarat Titans to Mumbai Indians. So he's going back to his original team.
Absolutely. Now the Gujarat Titan, if you remember, Hardik Pandya was the captain over there. So Gujarat Titan needed a captain. Now they're relying on Shubman Gill.
Gujarat Titans, came into the picture 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
All right. And Hardik Pandya was their captain. In the first year, Gujarat Titans won the championship. In the second year, that means this year in 2023, Gujarat Titans lost to CSK, Chennai Super Kings in the final. So they really performed very well.
Absolutely.
And now Hardik Pandya has requested a trade for the reasons unknown. So now Hardik Pandya officially has gone to Mumbai Indians. Shubman Gill has been number 2 guy in Gujarat Titans from the beginning. So Shubman Gill is now the captain. And again, IPL is going to go into the auction.
Absolutely.
Gujarat Titans' purse has gotten big because they got money from Mumbai Indians for Hardik Pandya. So they will go out and looks like they may get a very, very well-known player. And
Shubman Gill did very well in World Cup.
Yeah.
And he is a class A player. Like Hardik Pandya.
Yeah,
so he's a deserving captain. He's only 24 years old.
Exactly.
So probably the youngest captain, one of the youngest captain that we have in class A team.
I don't know, too young to be a captain, but maybe Gujarat Titans have faith in him and in Shubman Gill's ability, and we wish Shubman Gill very, very well. So that is the news about IPL. Now, let's talk about T20 tournament, which is going on in India versus Australia. As you know, India, they have put in all their young players out there, led by Surya Kumar Yadav. They won first two T20 very well, handsomely that they won.
Convincingly.
Convincingly. And third T20, they lost just in the last over, last ball, and because of dew over there and everything else, and bowlers just could not bowl even though they tried very hard, but they lost to Australia. Now,
well, the credit goes to Maxwell as well.
Yes, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Making 23 runs in the last over.
He was getting loose balls. Come on, the bowlers were trying, but because of dew was so much, the ball could not turn and everything else. But anyway, credit to Maxwell. Now, the 4th ODI has also been played. Now, let's see the 5th ODI on Sunday. By the time you watch the show, then I guess you will be looking at the 4th and 5th ODI result. But I hope India wins the series. And after that, India is going to go to South Africa.
Yep.
They have announced the squad for the test match, for T20 and for one-day international. And guess what? Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, they have requested a time off from the white ball. That means they will not be playing T20 and the World Cup and one day, not World Cup, one day. They will not be playing, but they will play the test.
Yep. And Hardik Pandya.
Hardik Pandya is not in there.
Hardik Pandya is not in
there
for his injury
reasons. To South Africa because of injury. Mohammad Shami is not going to be there because he's going to have some kind of injury also. Now, ho gayi baat. Yes, up. Now let's talk about accounting and the year end and the important message from Ajay of SAI CPA Services.
So the show wouldn't be over unless we bring it to you. Right now is the year end. You are already in December, the last month of the year. If you don't look at your financials now, it will be too late. You have to make certain decisions before the year end, before December 31st, especially if you own a small business. What you can do, find out where you stand, how much money you have made in the 11 months. Then compare it with the last year's taxes, how much money you reported to the government. If you made more money, then find out expenses, find out machinery, phone, equipment, travel, wherever you can spend the money, where you can grow the business, spend the money for the business only. But unless you know where you stand, you wouldn't be able to plan. There are a lot of things you can do: 401k, IRAs, SAP, a lot of qualified retirement plan, a lot of machinery under Section 179 deduction. You can claim the depreciation. The key here is know where you are so you can plan accordingly.
Okay, that's interesting. And for that and for any other tax related matter or any question you have about your business, small business, mid-sized business, large business, you can contact SAI CPA services to have your books done right and your taxes also completed right. Give them a call at 908-380-6876 or visit their website, which is saicpaservices.com. With that note, we come to an end of this week's episode of the Business Talk with Ajay. So thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your advice. And with that note, of course, I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy and tax-free and holidays, good holidays ahead. Until we meet again next week, same place, same time. Do take care of yourself. So long.
Thank you.